Absolute Carnage Issue 1 begins the hyper-violent event with Eddie Brock giving Dylan a brief history on Knull, the god of the Symbiotes and the ruler of the Abyss, who was imprisoned by his creations in a planet-sized cage made out of the Symbiotes. Eddie also talks about his time as Venom and how he bonded with the Symbiote, and how when the Symbiote and its offspring bonded with anyone, they infected their DNA, leaving a little piece of them behind, and it's how the species communicates to its larger hive. Venom, however, became cut off from the hive, but if someone were to take those little parts left over from everyone who's ever been infected by a symbiote and combine them and absorb them, they could reconnect to the hive and reawaken Knull. And that's just what Carnage is trying to do. Eddie tells Dylan about Cletus Cassidy, scaring the boy even more, but the boy wants to know what they will do. Eddie says that he's going to be putting Dylan somewhere safe first before he figures out a plan. Hiding out is going to be a bit hard for Eddie, however, as wanted posters are plastered everywhere in Times Square for him. He tells Dylan to hurry as the boy asks what happened in Rikers Island, and Eddie knows that this is Cletus playing tricks with him. Soon he knows they are being followed, so Eddie and Dylan race to the subway, trying to get a train, and as they wait for the train, Cletus appears behind him, pushing them in front of the train. The man in the hat who was following them rushes to their aid, morphing into a symbiote and wrapping around Eddie and the boy as the train barrels down onto them. The symbiote, revealed to be Venom, stops the train before bonding with Eddie, who reconnects with the symbiote, learning he's been watching him and he can now talk with Eddie again thanks to the dark magic bonding with him. Eddie can't bond fully with him, however, since he's not strong enough, but Venom says he will need to be since he is coming. The police confront Venom and Dylan, but soon the subway explodes as Carnage arrives. Venom tells the police to take Dylan and leave as he attacks Carnage, who easily smashes him out of the way, saying that they are a god now. Carnage beats Venom savagely as he tells Eddie his brain is hemorrhaging, but Eddie can't do anything to stop it, and he knows that this is the end and tries to tell Dylan who he really is to the boy, but Carnage begins ripping Venom off of him, telling him there is no way to fight what is happening. Eddie, however, grabs the third rail of the subway line, causing both him and Carnage to become electrocuted, which in turn causes the symbiotes to be obliterated from his and Cletus's body. Venom tries to reawaken Eddie, who is barely alive, and the symbiote bonds with him as Eddie says that he doesn't know how he's alive, but they have to leave. Getting Dylan, the two leave as Carnage begins reforming. Heading through this rain-drenched city, Dylan finds that Eddie is now unconscious, and that Venom is now in control of his body, placing Eddie into a coma as his body repairs. They soon arrive at the apartment building they were headed to, so Venom wakes Eddie up, who goes inside and knocks on the door of Peter Parker. Going to a coffee shop, Spider-Man meets with the disguised Eddie, telling him he hates this symbiote stuff so much. Eddie thinks Peter isn't taking this seriously, but Peter wonders when Eddie began fighting the drill gods and what happened to evil businessmen and sewer monsters. Eddie knew it was a bad idea to come to Peter for help, getting up to leave, but the Venom symbiote tells him to stay and not to let his jealousy get the best of him. Spider-Man promises to stop messing around and tries to ask Dylan if he wants any food, but the boy thinks Spider-Man is a menace. Dylan leaves so Eddie and Spider-Man can talk, and Peter immediately wants to know what the deal is with the kid, since he really should not be in custody of a small child, and Eddie really needs to explain that. Eddie tells Peter that Dylan is his son, but Peter wonders if the kid knows Eddie is his father, but Eddie says he doesn't. Peter says that growing up without knowing one's father is hard and he should tell him. Soon the coffee shop news comes on and breaks news of a mass grave being found, all with the spines removed, and among the dead were people from the Life Foundation and General Ross. The news is switched off by the barista, and Eddie demands he put it back on since he knows what their spines missing means, that this is a message from Cletus stating that no matter if you are dead like Ross was, you are still a target, and it means Anne's body is in that mass grave as well. Eddie breaks down as some robbers enter, and Spider-Man takes them down as Eddie tells him Carnage now has all of the dead people's Codex pieces, meaning this is now a race and they are sorely losing. He tells the hero that Carnage will be coming for everyone who has ever worn the symbiote, and they need to begin tracking them down, meaning they need someone with the intimate knowledge of the symbiote and with the tech skills to build a machine to extract it. Spider-Man knows Reed Richards could do it, but not in the time frame they have, meaning they need to turn to the last person Eddie wants to speak to. Later at Rex Strickland's safe house, Eddie and Dylan meet with the Maker, who has already built the extraction machine. Eddie wonders how, and Maker says that the people he works for are interested in gaining a fractured symbiote and making it whole, so he began building the machine before he even met Eddie body, and he is now just reassembling it in the safe house. Eddie says that he will be having an intense conversation with the Maker about what he is doing, but the villain says that their interests are aligned for now, so they will work together. Spider-Man soon arrives and is surprised to learn that the Maker is Reed Richards from another universe. Peter reveals he brought Norman Osborn, his godson, who was once infected with the Carnage symbiote and needs Eddie's help in extracting the Codex. Eddie introduces Normie to Dylan, hoping that they will get along, as the Maker wants to use Normie in the machine first, but Peter won't allow it. However, Maker reminds him that he is the only one there with the Codex inside him, but if they can think of someone else close by, he can use them. Heading to Ravencroft, the two Spider-Men sneak into the high security asylum, meeting with John Jameson, who is surprised Venom is there helping Spider-Man. John is okay with Venom being there if Spider-Man says so, telling the hero that he pulled every favor he had to clear the prison out and keep maximum security locked up tight. But he wonders after what he saw Carnage do to Doverton if it will be enough to keep him from Norman Osborn. As they reach the cell with Norman in it, they try and work out how to get him, and Spider-Man says that they need to sedate their target, but first his spider sense triggers as John is overcome with some type of possession. John shoots the alarm, causing the screeching alarm to begin blaring and disrupt the Venom symbiote. Spider-Man tries to stop John from letting Norman out as the possessed John says God is coming. Cletus arrives, singing as he infects the entire asylum, and John begins to turn into his werewolf form, forcing the pain-riddled Eddie to crawl towards John's discarded weapon, using it to shoot the sirens out and allow the symbiote to reform as Spider-Man manages to web up John, knocking him out. Venom feels Carnage getting closer, seeing the villain has turned the entire prison into his symbiote soldiers. Pete knows that they need to save Norman, so the two men attack the Carnage symbiotes, fighting the Horde, but Peter says that Venom can't kill them because they are still innocent people underneath. Venom shares that their weakness is electricity since it worked on Cletus in the subway, but as they try and come up with a plan, Carnage grabs Spider-Man, throwing him into Norman's cell door, crashing through into the cell and leaving the injured hero at the mercy of the insane Norman Osborn. The villain slashes Peter with the small piece of glass he has as Venom arrives, knocking out Norman and sealing him and Peter in the cell with him, away from the Carnage Horde. As Venom holds the door, Peter webs his hands together, smashing the concrete wall behind him to try and make an escape route. Before he can get through though, Carnage smashes his way through the door, revealing that he has captured Norman Osborn. Spider-Man pleads for him not to kill him, but Cletus says that he wasn't there to kill anyone, he's there to make friends as he infects Osborn. Absolute Carnage issue 1 was an awesomely insane beginning to this pretty huge story Donny Cates has been building up for quite some time. Although I am familiar with the story that's been building, this first issue does a great job of catching everyone up on what's been going on, so I think it's safe to say that one could just jump right in here and not feel lost in any way. I enjoy Donny is making me care about Venom and characters like Carnage, characters that I've never really cared about before, and he's building up one hell of an interesting story with them, with their gods and cool cosmic stuff and lots of really cool visuals, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he intends to unravel this story. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching my newest video. If you enjoyed it, you might also like to check out my other reviews here on my channel. You can also follow me on various social media platforms like Twitter by searching Matt_FOS, or even join the Comic Multiverse Discord server and chat with other comic book fans, including myself and Joel from Cape Joel. Want cheap comics and trades? Head over to the book depository with the link in the description to get the cheapest trades and comics around, along with free shipping anywhere in the world. Until next time, this has been Matt of the Fortress of Solitude. Thank you so much for watching.